2 more minutes, sir. So because everyone's, I think, at work, and it's 7:20 my side in Dubai. It's about 9 o'clock almost in India. So I think people are still getting in
So
organized.
I guess everybody must have finished breakfast as well.
Yeah, I'm assuming, and I'm hoping you've had breakfast because it's fairly early in the morning.
I'm all set. No problem.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. We'll just give it 2 more minutes. Yeah? Okay, they're joining. Yeah, just give it 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, sir. Hi, champion.
Sure.
Hi, good evening, Akanksha. So Sridhar
Good
says that's
evening.
Akanksha. She is based in Delhi, and she is moved from a. She works with a law firm for many years, and
Okay.
now is getting into content and copy on a full-time basis. Hopefully,
Okay.
right. So
So
we
she
have
must be
about.
getting a lot of content having been in a law firm.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Akanksha, you want to answer that?
I beg your pardon, sir.
I said you must be able to get a lot of content because you're in a law firm.
Yeah, yes, yes. It's a 100-year-old law firm, so lots and lots of it.
Prosecution and defense and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Satish also who's joined in. Just give it 2 seconds. Okay, slowly everyone's coming in. Sridhar sir, that's Satish Rangarajan.
Oh, hi, Satish. Hi, Satish.
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm fine, sir.
So Satish is also somebody who's into content, quite senior. He's worked on the content side for a number of years. Satish,
Okay.
you're in Chennai as well, right? So you're
I'm in
from
Chennai, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Where in
I'm
Chennai,
assuming-
Satish?
Pallikarnai?
Okay, Pallikarnai. Okay.
Yeah.
Sridhar sir, you have roots there in Chennai, I'm assuming?
Sorry?
No, I'm asking Sridhar sir if he has roots in Chennai.
Yeah. I worked for 6 years in Chennai.
That's
Ogilvy in Chennai. We had our office behind LIC, Mount Road.
Okay.
Nice.
There is a place called More Auctioneers there. I don't know if the building still is there. Our office was above that years ago.
Okay.
Behind the
Okay.
LIC building. Yeah, Mount Road. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll start. I think 1 second. There is one more person who's
Yeah.
come in. Hussein has
There is
joined. Yeah.
Apurva who has come.
Yes. So Apurva. You want to say a quick hello to Mr. Sridhar? So Apurva
Hello,
is based
sir.
in she's based in Bombay. She is also a writer, and she's also a shooter. She's planning to
As in this.
represent. Yeah. She's planning to represent India
Okay.
very soon at the India level very soon in shooting.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
I'm assuming she aims well for a copy too. So hopeful about that, right? And so we also have Hussein. Hussein is joined in.
Yeah, it's a Hussein.
He
Yeah.
flits between Mumbai and Pune. Been in the writing field for close to 10 years, and all of them are bright, sir. No, I'm not taking sides. Huh? Each and every one of them is bright. Yeah, very, very bright, very talented, and they were looking forward to this session for a long time. And thankfully now finally it's happened. So guys, I'll just quickly introduce you to Mr. Sridhar. Now Mr. Sridhar is somebody who, when I joined advertising in 1999, I think he was already so well known that, for us being young at that time, he was one of the legends of that time. And I think Mr. Sridhar would have worked in Ogilvy a year or more after 99, 2000, 2001, if I'm not mistaken. So you worked there, right? And he joined Ogilvy in 1975, which is the year I was born. So you can imagine how experienced Mr. Sridhar is, right? I'm close to 50 now, so you can imagine. And this is not a slight on his age. He's still as young and as fit and as talented and as motivated as any one of us as a 20-year-old. And Mr. Sridhar has not just worked in various capacities in Ogilvy. He's known as the father of direct marketing in India. He's had a long stint with Ogilvy. He's worked with Mr. David O himself. And I'm sure we will hear some stories on that today. And then post advertising, he has had various things that he's done. He's done too many things to list here. He's been a TEDx speaker. He's an author. He's run a lot of workshops. He's known for his motivation. He's known for creativity. So, sir, the floor is all yours. Really, it's a pleasure, honor, privilege to have you. Really, really excited about this. So what we'll do is I'll moderate this. I'll ask a few questions. Please feel free, guys, to jump in whenever. Mr. Sridhar has assured us that we can ask anything under the sun, right? So no need to be intimidated. Feel free to ask whatever is your mind and your heart desires today. So, sir, I'll start from the start, right from the start. So 1975 would have been a very different era in India's life. I mean, we were going through the emergency, close to the emergency at that time. How did you join advertising?
Can you speak a little louder, Santesh? I think there's a volume problem I have. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Am I clear now?
Not clearly yet.
Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just want to know, sir, what was your inspiration to join advertising so many years back, almost 50 years ago? What got you into advertising?
What was my inspiration for what?
To join advertising, to get into advertising.
To join advertising?
Yeah.
Oh, my honest confession is I didn't know anything about advertising. Okay. Now, I'm a BSc Physics and Mathematics from Bombay University. And I had joined Crown Greaves and I was working in Pune in the sales division. And that's the most boring thing in the world for anybody to do. Okay. And then those days, my aspiration was to get into the management cadre, and I was called as a sales assistant. And I didn't like the idea. Right. And I was paid something like 750 rupees. And I was living in Pune, my parents were in Bombay. And it was a hand-to-mouth existence of paying your room rent and monthly the thing. And I used to get lunch and dinner from one place where monthly bill was paid. At the end of the month, I was so broke, I had to walk from office to home every day.
No.
I said, this is not on, boss. And then I saw an advertisement in Times of India. And then I was not called management cadre. That was another problem I had. Okay. Now, I saw an advertisement in Times of India asking for management trainees from an advertising agency called Frank Simoist Advertising. I don't know if you heard of Frank Simoist. He used to work in one of the finest writers, Now, Frank advertised, said he wants management trainees. Now, management trainee was like magic to me. So I took a lot of trouble and wrote a very nice resume and sent it to Frank. And Frank asked me to go for an interview. And I will try to to the interview. And I got the job. And he paid me 1,500 rupees. And I said, wow. Right? Now, little did I know that he had a plan to put me on the toughest business they had. Okay. They had Siemens as an account. It's an engineering account. Okay. And all engineers were there dealing with the agency. And nobody in the agency had any understanding of some of the terminologies that the engineers used. Okay. I'll give you the simplest of examples. Have you heard of a size called A4 in paper?
Yes.
A4 paper size is 297 mm by 210 mm, precise. All Siemens leaflets were produced in A4 size. And our guys will go and produce it, and even the layout had to be in A4 size. And then 1 mm less, the engineer will throw it back. So you have to come back to the agency, go back again. So your taxi fare up and down was the problem, right? And you go to the accountant and submit the bill, and he said, "Where did you go?" I went to Siemens. What happened? This happened. Was the work approved? Not approved. So paisa kyun dega tere ko? All right. So I learned things the hard way.
Right.
Right? And now Frank was one of the finest writers. So his copy for the Taj hotels and copy for the Raymond's business, etc., legendary kind of stuff. At those times, I had no chance of trying to even write anything. But
Right.
what I did was, I wrote the best minutes to the meetings ever. As an
Right.
account executive, you go to a client meeting, right? And then you have to capture the minutes. The purpose of the minutes is to tell everybody involved, see what happened in the meeting, what was discussed, and as an outcome, who is to do what next.
Correct.
Nobody wants a lamba chada Ram Katha of the meeting. They want to know what decisions were taken. That was it. I learned that from one senior general manager from Siemens. He said,
Right.
"This is how minutes must be done." He taught me that. I have no hesitation in saying this. So my minutes in the meeting in the agency was always shown as an example to everybody. Okay. So then, but Frank was also a very tight-fisted guy. He wouldn't really pay very well and all that kind of stuff. And after a while, I realized that I had no future there. It so happened then that the new managing director coming to Ogilvy after several years in Australia. So I applied for a job there. Okay. Now, there again, I learned something. I heard that I had to do some jasusi and find out about the man. Now, this is the thing that I want to spend half a little bit time more on
Please, sir.
understanding target audience. All of us are in the communication business. I did some homework because there is a Reader's Digest representative who came and told me the news that Ogilvy was looking for people. So I called the guy and said, "Tell me about this man." So he said he's a man who's very meticulous, eye for detail, and he is thorough, right? And every day takes paper home for reading in the night. When he comes back in the morning, he is ready for the day, when the rest of the agency is not ready for the day. That is his secret. So what I did was, I created a dossier on myself. Everything that you always wanted to know about a prospective employee. So
Very
I
nice.
sat down and imagined all the questions that Mr. R might have for a prospective account executive. I was applying for an account executive job. So I created a dossier, complete dossier on myself, right? So I mean, starting from where I was born, where I studied, what grades I got in SSC, what grades I got in BSc, what was my first job in sales, what was I doing in Siemens, Frank Sumos, everything. Everything that he would want to ask was there in the dossier, right? Then I went to Ogilvy. Let's say that my interview was on 1st. I went on the 31st evening to the agency and handed over the sealed envelope to Mr. Iyer's secretary, saying, "Mr. Iyer is expecting this document." I said, "What's in it?" She said, "Mr. Iyer." So I told her Mr. Iyer would know. Okay. There is a very diplomatic kind of answer. I didn't want to say it's a job application. She would have sent it to the personal department.
Yeah.
So what she did was, she put that sealed envelope along with all the readers, all the material for Mr. Iyer, which he used to read in the a car or to his home and back, etc. So he had read it. So next day morning at 9 o'clock, when I went to his office, he had already come to the office. My folder was right on top. And then as I entered, he said, "Just sit here for 2 minutes. I'll be back in 2 minutes," kind of stuff. So I just sort of peeped and looked at what was there. And right on top on the document, if you can imagine a document like that, right? On top, there was a small tick mark on the top. I said, "Abhi baat ban gaya hai. Salam."
But you knew that was your name there or somebody else's name? You checked your name as
Beg your
well, right?
pardon?
Hopefully.
Sorry?
Did you check that it was your name the tick was against, or was it somebody else's name?
No. But that folder was unique to mine.
Only
No?
yours.
So
Yeah, it was
I
only
had
yours.
chosen, see, Ogilvy colors were red.
Correct.
So I had gone to the market and picked up a folder which was of the same color.
Ah,
And it was not cheap,
right.
right? So I knew that that is my folder. There is no question. So identity भी बना दिया उधर. So on top was a tech bug was a bang. So then
Right.
he came and he said this, that, etc. And then finally he said, "Ki, I'm willing to give you a job, but I don't know when and where." I said, "I mean, uh, what is the purpose of a job? You can't take me an appointment." He said, "Listen, I don't know." So I said, "Then do you give me the permission to follow up with you?" He said, "Yeah, oh, we can do that." So I said, "Can I call you from time to time?" He said, "The best time for you to call me is 1:45 in the afternoon, soon after lunch, before I start the rest of the day." So every Thursday, I used to call him
Wow.
at one. So I say, "Good afternoon, Mr. R." He said, "Yep." Then I'll say, "Any news, Mr. R?" "No." And then phone over. This went on for 3 months. And finally, he said, "Okay, come and see me." Then I went to see him and he said that, "Look, I have a job for you, but it's not in Bombay." I said, "What is this?" They said, "It's in Chennai, but then you'll be trained here for 6 months in Bombay and then you go to Chennai." That's how it happened.
Lovely. So you spent your initial years in the account management side, and you spent pretty much your entire career on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
side, right?
Six years in Ogilvy, Chennai account management.
Right. But you were always, because Ogilvy was always, I mean, I don't know that time of, the era that you were in, but Ogilvy's always been considered to be a creative hotshot, right? I mean, especially ever since Mr. Ranjan Kapoor and Mr. Piyush Pandey came into the foray. So was it always like that as a creative hotbed even in the 70s?
I think the creative flair came little later.
Okay.
During the earlier days, it was always there. It had the creative was very strong, but it lacked the magic.
Hmm.
Okay, uh, it's like having a fantastic team shooting a film,
Hmm.
right? Great story, this, that, etc. But somehow the music was not gelling in, the
Hmm.
photography was not adequate. Some
Hmm.
missing pieces were there, kind of stuff. But that's
Correct.
strategically very sound.
Right. So strategically sound, but creatively not there yet,
Yeah,
as they say.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So when
For
did
instance,
this?
I mean, just to add a point, when I say strategically sound, in the early days, um, some odd thing happened when I was in Chennai. Four of us went for an account management training program to Bombay.
Hmm.
Okay, the branch manager, creative director, the senior supervisor, and myself. We had did that. Now there was an air crash that happened, Caravel air crash in 1976.
Right.
Right now, two of us were from Bombay, my senior supervisor and myself. So both of us wanted to stay back for a day.
Hmm.
And we were told that one of you go early before the program and stay there. The other person stays back. So
Hmm.
I had chosen to stay back.
Hmm.
Now, as it happened, the manager, the creative director, and the senior account supervisor, they took the flight to Chennai, which crashed.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was the only survivor.
Seriously.
Yeah. And I didn't take the flight. That's why
Okay.
I was a survivor.
Wow. That
Okay,
is some story.
because yeah, it's a story. So I had stayed back with my sister. So that was that. Therefore, what happened was when I came back, I was the only account management person to handle all the businesses. There was no
Right.
manager, nobody, and I was
Right.
reporting directly to Mr. Iyer, the managing director. He used to
Right.
fly in every week, spend 3 days with us,
Right.
and that
Wow.
was like a one-on-one tutorial on running business, running clients, meeting,
Correct.
managing the team, and I was not officially the head of the office. I was too young
Right.
for it,
Correct.
but I had to be his trusted number two to do all that till a new manager came. So that was a
Fantastic.
great learning experience.
So in your experience, I mean, because a lot of people confuse, or not confused, but they think strategic people are not creative and creative people are not strategic, right? That's because of the demarcation. But how involved were you in the creative aspect of the business for Gilvy as well?
See, the thing is that uh, This is a misconception that creative people are not strategic and strategic people are not creative.
Correct.
Okay. Now, my view is that creativity is all about newness and freshness. What is strategic? Strategic is to say that the means by which you achieve a certain objective is strategic. Right? Now, if I say I want to go, I'll just give you an example. Some time ago, I was to go and attend a meeting in Mumbai. Okay. Now, there was a traffic jam and I was getting late for the meeting. So I told my driver to go and check what has happened. Then he went and saw that in the signal, there was a earth moving machine which had turned and it had fallen on the side. And he said, came back and told me, this is going to take several hours before they can clear it. And I was getting late for the meeting. Then I saw that a whole lot of motorbikes were going on the side, whereas all the cars and buses and trucks were, stuck. The motorbikes were good. So I told my driver, "Tu gaadi leke aa jao." Then I stood on the side and then waved to one of the motorbike guys. The pillion was free. I said, "Mere ko aap log chhod do." Now, that is tactics, right?
Yeah.
My strategy was to get to my meeting on time. Find out the most interesting, simple, effective way to get there. And not using traffic jam as an excuse.
Fantastic.
As it happened, I went and landed there in the meeting. Then I had to wait because my client was stuck in the traffic. Okay, so when he came back, he said, "But how did you come? How did you manage to come on time?" I told him this is what I did. He said, "Shit, man. I saw so many motorbikes going, but I never thought of doing that."
Right.
Now you see, you have to give me your business. Because you have confessed to me that you can't think like the way I do. Right? So it means that between the two of us, we can form a damn good partnership in terms of thinking differently and getting better results. That was my pitch. So the presentation I took, I didn't make. And I got the result.
You didn't have to do anything after that. Very nice. Okay. Just one question, and I'll throw the questions open to the floor as well. You work with so many, and I'm restricting this to copywriters. I know that you work with a lot of great creative minds, including art directors, including filmmakers, photographers, etc., etc. But when it comes to copywriting, what has your sort of perspective been on copywriting, copywriters, how copywriters need to be, as people, as creatives, as human beings? What is your perspective after having seen so many people across the years?
Okay, I believe that the role of a copywriter is to persuade. A copywriter is writing something for an audience, right? And he is writing or he is writing on behalf of a brand, right? In a highly competitive market, when you're writing for a particular brand A, then you have to create preference for brand A.
Right.
Now, how you do it, how nicely you do it, so your skill. Because I'm talking about brand A, there is no need for me to put down brand B and brand C. But whether directly or indirectly, I have to say that, look, talk to me first.
Correct.
Right? I think that's perfectly legitimate, right? I'll give you a short story on this, very small story. There is this interview where a lot of people had to attend an interview. There's a huge number of guys, and they were being interviewed. And there is this guy who was number 30 in the list. So what he did was he went out, bought a very expensive envelope from the stationery outside during lunchtime, and then sent the envelope to the general manager, sealed. Very expensive looking envelope, and name of the general manager, and it was sent through the peon to him. And when the general manager opened it, he said, "Please don't decide until you meet candidate number 38.
Okay.
Is that copywriting?
That is copywriting for sure.
That's copywriting, right?
Yeah.
So there is strategy and tactics, everything is involved in that, right? And timing.
Correct.
So the guy was so curious, he had to meet this fellow.
Right.
So I think that's where the opportunity is, right?
No, very nicely put. So I think I mean, basically, what you're trying to say is that it really is your perspective, right? And it's not so much. It's the way you look at things eventually.
Yeah, and thinking on your feet. You got to
Correct.
see opportunity. When you see the opportunity, you must seize it. You can't theorize the opportunity then.
Right. Correct.
Now, fall in love, you must have the guts to tell the girl, right? You
Correct.
can't sing a song ki bolu na bolu and all that. Bolna chahiye.
True. Very true, sir. So I'll quickly introduce you to two more people who have joined. Sorry, I'm just taking a little bit. There's Akanksha, the second Akanksha, who's in the group, another very bright young talent.
Okay.
And there is a gentleman by the name of Shiva. Shiva is like this, the typically irritating creature.
Shiva is there, but I can't see his face.
Yeah, he's there somewhere. I think he's
Shy
probably in the
Shiva.
background. Yeah, so Shiva is the typical mosquito character creative, but very good with Hindi. I think he'll make a better Hindi copywriter than an English copywriter. That's my opinion.
And his copy bites.
Yeah, his copy bites. Copy bites, and he has these really silly jokes which don't bite, but that's fine.
Okay.
We'll keep that for later. Okay, so there's a lot of things to ask, sir, and I know that
I have
time is
all the
limited.
time in the world, guys. If you have the patience
Fantastic.
to listen to me, yeah.
Fantastic. So we will engage you a little longer then. So I'll throw it open to the room, guys. If you want to ask anything, Mr. Sridhar, I have a set of questions. Of course, I'll come back to it, but it shouldn't look like it's just a one-on-one. So
Yeah.
any one of you can please
Yeah.
throw open.
Only request is speak slowly and speak clearly.
Yeah.
Remember that I'm 74 years old and try to pretend that I'm 47. Yeah.
You're younger than all of us, sir. Trust me on that.
Okay.
Yes, go on. Anyone, please. Feel free. Yes, Asta, go on.
Yeah, yes, sir. So I just wanted to know that you personally worked with Mr. David Ogilvy, right? So, like, how was his personality? Like, I'm totally enraptured by the idea of him. So we can only have an idea of him. We are these younglings.
David Ogilvy is an amazing guy. I had the good fortune. He visited Bangalore when I was heading Bangalore office. Okay. Now, he can be very easily bored. He's very distracted also.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
and he was very particular that people had their homework. So he called Ogilvy the teaching hospital of the advertising world.
Go.
Wow.
Right? And then he believed that people had to hold their homework and they had to read everything and all that. And I told my team members, okay, this is what David does. So we made sure that everybody had read every piece of things that he had written. Right? And then we had clearly said that at every opportunity, at the right opportunity, you must quote from something that he had written. Chamchandari is at the highest, right? But I was determined that I was the smallest office in the Ogilvy chain, and I said I must get the best impression.
Right.
I knew that he was clear that billing is fine. He felt that people who are not literate in advertising, people who do not do their homework, don't deserve to be in Ogilvy. So I said I must make a mark on this. I can't show billing, but I can show great people. I said I will showcase my people. Then we had a library. So before he came, I got a proper bookcase, and we put the library, we cataloged everything. And I got a librarian who was also doubling up as studio assistant or something. Every book was numbered, everything like that. And we showcased the library, etc. So when David walked, there was a certain vibration that was in the room, right? Young people are all eager students. They're all like blotting paper, waiting to listen to him. And in the course of conversation, one or two of them will say, consumer is not a moron, but she is your wife. David was zapped. He once told me that, look, I'm getting bored in the office, let's go out for lunch. Right. I said, fine. Then we went to a restaurant for lunch. Then he said that I'm very bored eating the same food again and again. I want to visit your home. So I said, you're most welcome to come home. but I want to tell you two things. I don't serve liquor, I don't drink, nobody drinks in the family, and we are 100% vegetarians. We come from very traditional Cambram household. So you're welcome to come home. So I said, I want to see, I'm very curious. I've never been to a home like yours. Who all stays in your home? I said, elder mother, my mother, my wife, my child, right? And he said, on one condition, that you will leave your home as is, the way you normally have it. You will not do a house for just because I am coming.
Very nice.
As is, where is. And just to make sure that you don't fool around, I'm coming for lunch tomorrow afternoon. So you don't have enough time to do anything. I said, done, that's a deal. But then you will stay, you can't skip anything. You will have to eat everything that we give.
Right.
But we'll make sure it is safe. Right? It was amazing. He came home. We were staying in a flat, okay, in the ground floor of the building. And then as he walked in, my mother was there. She was if you know South Indian Brahmins, she's a 9-yard sari kind of lady. Old, completely grey. And she had not even done matriculation, but she could speak English. Right? Then our young daughter was there. She had just come back from school. And she had a Spectrum home computer which was connected to the television. That's how it used to work.
Spectrum, I remember that, yes.
Yeah, Spectrum. Right?
Yeah.
My wife is there. So David said that I don't want the retinue from the office. I want to come with you alone, just the two of us. So nobody else from the office was available.
Great.
The managing director was in Bombay. Mr R said, listen, enough of David. He has too many questions to keep him for a while. So, okay. So
you kidnapped him that day, basically.
Yeah. So he came home. Then he saw my daughter's computer and he said, what is that? And I told my daughter to explain it to him. He explained it to him and he was zapped. Right? Then he had a conversation with my mother.
Wow.
Okay, my mother spoke to him in her manner she could. She managed to communicate. And by that time, he learned from her that she had 3 children. Her first son was in the US and she has traveled to the US and things like that. And she told him that my father, who used to work in the film studios, he was a sound recordist. And he was also a camera specialist and so on and so forth. So he was absolutely zapped with this.
Fantastic.
So the purpose I was saying this is that we make assumptions about people in terms of the way they do things and so on. He was the simplest thing. Then the next thing that happened was something led to another. And David said that, look, you have to work abroad for a while. You must get exposure, otherwise you will not grow. So I said, I don't mind, but I have limitations. He said, what bloody limitations? I said, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm not a party guy. I'm completely stuck in conversation. I don't know what to speak of. Because I don't know the European countries, the kinds of points and this, that. I know nothing of that. He said, if you want to be successful in advertising, all those doesn't matter. All you need to know is to the consumer. All you need to understand is perception.
Correct.
Right? So that's what happened. And he made sure that I spent time in London and New York and some other countries.
Which brings me to this question, sir. How important is it to really get exposed to another country outside of India in terms of the work culture, people, advertising?
So what happened was that he understood I was very keen on direct marketing.
Right.
So I spent time in Ogilvy, London, the direct marketing part of the business.
Right.
And then in Paris, the direct marketing company, and then in Amsterdam, the direct marketing company. And I visited David Ogilvy in Paris, in his place. Nice. So he took me out for. Can you imagine Champs-Élysées, the opposite the Eiffel Tower? David and I were walking, and then I was holding his hand Like I
Wow.
hold my father's hands. We were walking on the street, and
I-
nobody in the street even recognized him.
Unfortunately, you did not have a mobile phone, so you could not click a selfie and put it on Instagram.
Yeah. And then he was so funny. So I had the presentation made to the head of the Paris office, and then during lunch, David said, "So when you made the presentation, did this man keep saying yes? And that's interesting, very nice. Did he keep saying that?" I said, "Yeah, he said that. How did you know?" He said, "That's because I'm sure he wasn't wearing his hearing aid."
Hmm. Oh, very observant.
Yeah,
Very observant.
that's the
Fantastic.
experience with David.
So how much did Ogilvy really shape the agency, as in his sort of philosophy and his culture? Because we all,
Huge,
he's
huge,
hugely, right?
huge, huge, huge.
Especially on the creative side,
Not even client relationships,
even client relations. Okay.
even writing documents, for instance, proposal documents. A
Hmm.
lot of that was shaped by that kind of discipline and thinking. For instance,
Correct.
by writing an advertising proposal, asking a client to spend money on a brand in a certain way, it has to
Right.
be persuasive, right?
Correct. Correct.
It has to give them the reasons why they have to do that and not do something else.
Right.
When I'm pitching for a client business, I'm pitching, right? So the client must say, I must choose this agency instead of some other agency.
Right. Very true. Okay, just one more question, and I'll throw it open again to everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
What has been your experience of working with somebody like Piyush Pandey, for example, right? Because a lot of people of this generation at least know him, heard of him, respect him, seen his work. So, what was your one-to-one with him? How was he as a creative? How is he as a creative person, as a writer?
See, Piyush is an amazing guy. He has an intuitive understanding of uh, human beings and psychology, right? So that is one strength. Next thing is, he has this very interesting way of communication, which is very crisp,
Hmm. Right.
right?
Right.
And he had Hindi language to his advantage.
Correct.
For instance, he wrote a line for Luna mopeds.
Chal Meri Luna.
Now that was a borrowed line from this thing, uh, uh, which is this film Sholay.
Sholay,
Chal Meri
yes. Chal
Rannu.
Chal Meri Rannu. Correct. Yes.
But that was timely and apt, right?
Correct.
So he had the knack. And then he had a very interesting style of presentation, which is very warm.
Hmm.
He would speak to the client like he's speaking to a friend.
Hmm.
He will introduce creative work like he's introducing a friend.
Wow.
So it's
Nice.
not like talking down to this is his great advertising which will make your brand is that. No, he will say this is what will happen kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So if the cricket commercial for Cadbury's was
Yeah.
born that.
Correct.
Like he himself is a cricketer, so the
Right.
cricket metaphor was used beautifully.
Correct. Very true. But do you think that so if there's one thing we can all take away from him, and as a writer there are so many skills, but what is the one thing that you think is we should look at him and say this is how we should be as creatives?
See, the thing is that you must keep in mind what is the purpose for which you write.
Hmm.
There are writers who write to please themselves. I love writing, which is
Correct.
fine. But if I'm writing to persuade somebody, I must be able to put myself in their shoes.
Correct.
Now, here is an example I quote in terms of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Let's say I want to get into your shoes, Santosh. What do you think I should do?
Hmm.
What do you think I should do?
Hopefully think like me.
First thing is,
But
I have to get out
understand
of
me.
my shoes. First, I have to
Correct.
get out of my shoes.
Get out of
Right?
your shoes. True.
If I get out of my shoes, then I can get into your shoes, which means that I have to get rid of my mental blocks, my own assumptions, right? My own logic. I have to put myself in Santosh's shoes, which means that I should do some homework on Santosh.
Very true.
I have to say what are his hopes, fears, and concerns. What does he hope to achieve? What is he afraid of? What are the concerns he has in terms of what might work, what might not work? If I'm able to address your hopes, fears, and concerns, there is a fair chance that you give me a listening, right?
Correct.
If I'm
Right.
going to open a conversation with you by saying, hey, Santosh, you know what? I'm 74 years, मैंने ये किया है, वो किया है, I've got done this, done that, etc. After 3 minutes, you'll switch off. You'll be nodding your head, but
Correct.
you're not listening to me, right?
Correct.
If you flip it the other on and say, start the conversation by saying, Santosh, you know, tell me, why are you spelling this raw as R-O-W-R?
Correct.
Then we have a
Then you're getting
conversation
in.
going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, then because I know Ajay Rao,
Yes, you know Ajay as well. Yes, correct. And you must be knowing the other Rao as well in the room.
yeah, I know Pandurang Rao, I know his
Pandran.
parents,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah.
now that then we have established a bridge now.
Correct.
Now, luckily for me, put it as ROW, right? Now, suppose you had put it as RAO, then I can
Right.
play around with Santesh.
Right.
So Santesh is about a message.
Right.
So I'll say, Santesh, what's your message to the world, boss?
Correct.
So
Correct. So
something
you're
is
starting
happening.
the conversation is
Yeah,
starting.
because people and their name are very important for the people.
Nice.
So I can look at every name here: Akanksha, Asta, Apurva, Satish, Hussein, right? Shiva. Every name has something, and everybody's name is dear to them. That is their brand,
Correct.
right? And everybody has a story to tell about their name somewhere or the other. Starting with, I mean, Asta, for instance, why is she spelling with a double A? There must be some story there, right?
Asta, is
Whereas
there a story there?
Akanksha spelling is one A before K, another A after K, but then it is Akanksha, right? But there are now I'm willing to see how we are picking up things now
You're right.
because we're willing to spend time on this. Apurva, for instance, I know a lot of people spell Apurva with double O after P.
Right.
Because Apurva it has to be.
Right.
So it's like that. So
Very nice.
it's all up to you. If you are interested, you will be interesting.
So nicely put. If you're interested, you'll be interesting. So very, very well put. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please, guys, use this opportunity to. Oh, yes, Hussein. Hussein is next, sir.
Speak a little louder, please.
Yes. Hi, sir. Hussein here. Am I audible?
Hi, Hussein. Hi. Yeah,
Hi.
of course you're audible.
Yeah. So I really like the example you gave to explain strategy, like how you give a very simple example of a traffic jam, like an objective, a means to an objective. So could you share another example to explain how to crack an idea or a baseline, like a similar example where the simple human instincts can work?
Okay. See, most of our instincts, etc., is based on experience, knowledge, or
Right.
observation of people, etc. We were doing work for a very expensive lubrication product.
Okay.
Okay, and then we were going to do a direct mail exercise to get them inquiries.
Okay.
Okay, now this is lubrication products, 10 times more expensive what is there in the market.
Okay.
So it is a business to business thing. Now it is not going to be sold off shelf. So client was not getting results. So I told the client, give me a month. I want to do some homework and come back to you. We can't rush this. If you're in a hurry, then I can't do it for you. So luckily, for instance, luckily for me, I had all the trust of the client because of the conversation I used to have. So I said, okay, I'll give you a month, but you tell me what are you going to do during this month? Very clever question. I said, you please tell me what are the places where your product will be of most use, right? So he gave me. Then we identified industries. So I went to those industries and found out where they were using lubricants in various places.
Okay.
Right? Machine tool factory. Right? There are several machines. In every machine, there are moving parts. Okay?
Right.
So if you have a machine with moving parts that don't move, what do you think will happen?
It'll jam, it'll get stuck.
Correct? And then production will come down.
Right.
So we did a direct mailer where the envelope said, do you have moving parts that don't move?
Nice line.
Nice.
So which means you had to open the envelope to read what it means. And when he opened the envelope and read, he said, here are the lubricants who can help you in this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? And
Makes
for another mailer was, do you have machines which seize at high temperature, which happened in many factories? So we created mailers on that basis, very expensive mailers, which were sent to factory managers, production managers, and so on and so forth. And inquiries meant the salesman could go because, and then this is where the crux of the whole thing is. The salesmen were spending time and money, wasting time with inquiries or meeting customers who did not need their products.
Okay.
Right? If the salesman goes to a place who don't need their products, he can't make a sale. And his income is based on commission income. Only if he makes a sale, he makes the money. So we actually worked with the salesman to pick up these stories, right? And we sent out these mailers. They got inquiries more, and the salesman went to those qualified inquiries, we call them, and converted them to better sales. Salesmen were happy, client was happy, and we were happy.
Lovely.
But
Nice.
this required homework from our side, imaginative homework. Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
That line was so nice. Do you have movable parts that move? Simple, no? I mean, it's such a simple argument at the end of the day. Very nice.
If you get a chance, you must read a book called Common Sense Direct Marketing. A book called Common Sense Direct Marketing by Drayton Bird. Drayton Bird and he was my guru in direct marketing. Outstanding. Yeah.
I'll make sure everyone gets a copy of that. Guys, anyone else? Hussein, thanks for the question. Very nice question. Interesting. Asta?
Thank you.
And then Satish, yes. Asta first, quickly.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask, like, how do we think simply? Like, generally, we have a very complex way of thinking, right? So how do we think simply so that we can express simply?
So just give me an example of complex thinking.
Like, say for example, if if I'm sitting in a bar and I like a guy, I have a crush, I look at a guy and I find him attractive, right? So there would be so many thoughts that would be coming to my mind that, oh my God, how should I want to approach, but then I don't want to seem desperate. I don't want to seem this. I don't want to seem this. There are so many hesitations, right? So, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong in giving it a shot. At the most, the person will not say, but the courage that comes with it is a lot. And not everyone can go and, then there is this assumption also, or there's this stereotype or whatever, taboo, that the girl shouldn't go and ask out a guy. There is another thing, that is another dynamic. So there are so many social stigmas and other things that are associated in such a setting that it becomes difficult. Just the simple act of going and saying hello to a guy, or maybe asking him for a drink, or whatever it is that would take to just have a conversation with that person, would become so complex. So how do we just get rid of all these things and just do whatever is supposed to be done?
Wonderful. From your question, I make it out that you're a brave girl.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So what I would do is that if you're really keen to make a conversation with this guy and you want to take some risk, approach him with a drink, right? And pretend as if you're tripping and spill the drink on him.
Okay.
Oh, damn. That's a lot to do. I don't know if
what will happen? What do you think will happen?
Obviously, he'll get offended.
Then you apologize, right? And you say,
Okay.
Oh, so sorry, I didn't mean to do this. I was looking at your pen and then I got distracted or something like that.
Okay.
Will it start a conversation?
Oh
If
yes.
he's a gentleman, he can't be rude to a lady,
Oh yes. At the same time, I'll get to know if he's a gentleman or
right?
not.
If he's rude, then you don't have to
Yeah.
be interesting. You can forget him.
Yeah. That's a great way.
But make sure you're spilling the cheapest drink on the house.
Yeah.
No expensive single
Now
malt.
it's
But then he
possible.
would
And
also be assessing me, right? So I don't want to buy a cheap drink.
no,
How does he know if it's cheap or
so
not?
what he says, well, I'm so sorry, this, that, I should have kept my foot a little inside or whatever it is. He will make excuses. He'll make you sit down. He'll buy you another drink. And the job
Yeah.
is done.
Great.
Does that
So,
answer
sir,
your question?
Yeah, it does.
Common sense, no?
Yeah.
But you got to be wicked.
Yeah. You need to be a little wicked and bold also.
Yeah.
nice.
Wicked in a positive sense, not in a
Yeah,
hurtful
yeah.
sense.
Mischievous, I think.
In a
Yeah.
mischievous sense. But the point is that straight ways may not necessarily give you the kind of results that you're looking for.
Yeah.
What I meant by straight ways, predictable methods.
Great. Sir, I'm sure
Then
you
if
must
you
be
want-
always having a way out in a complex situation. You seem like just the way you came up with it so instantly, just an explanation of how I could approach, or anyone could approach anyone. It tells a lot about you that for you, you don't think there are no complexities when it comes to
And this
things
is
in life.
this is with Mr. Sridhar being a teetotaler. Okay.
Exactly.
I,
You answer
I,
really talented.
I have a simple answer to this. There are two C's to this. One is curiosity,
Hmm.
and the other thing is care. Care for the other person, but curiosity for making things happen. You do it in a way which is not hurting.
Yeah. Got it.
Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Satish, you had a question. Sorry.
Sir, thank you for coming on our session, sir.
Satish, you can put a camera on so that it's easier to see you when you're asking the question.
Yeah, sure.
No worries.
Sure.
Ah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming for our session.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Okay. So, as I think you started in the industry before almost anyone here.
Can you speak
So
a
that's a
little
long
louder?
Yeah, I think you started in the industry. Any of us were even born. It's such a long time ago.
Yeah.
So over these years, what changes have you think has happened here, and what things have not changed and stayed the same? For example, the craft of writing, the art of writing a headline or making an interesting commercial. How have these things changed over the years? Especially now with the AI, artificial intelligence, taking over a lot of these activities. What's your read on that?
Okay. My take on this is that artificial intelligence is a tool, right? It is a tool like a fountain pen. It's a tool like a computer, etc. It cannot artificial intelligence. It cannot substitute human beings. Is my hypothesis. I don't think it can replace a human being. Nobody would want to marry artificial intelligence and live their lives with them. You still want the warmth of a human being. Artificial intelligence cannot give you artificial warmth, can it?
No.
Right. So I am just saying, use artificial intelligence as an instrument for improving your productivity. By all means, experiment with it and see how it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, you don't have to feel smaller just because your friend says that artificial intelligence is doing amazing things for him. I would say artificial intelligence is doing amazing things for you because your basic intelligence is low. Right? I'm not belittling it. I'm just saying don't get overawed by this. all things new get hyped up. By all means, learn that, try it out, test it out, and then make it your partner if it deserves your confidence. I'm using words very carefully. If it deserves
Very
your
nice.
confidence, if it helps you to improve your work.
Fantastic.
If I
What a
use a
lovely answer.
fountain pen, it is improving the fluidity of my writing, I would use a fountain pen. Why am I using a pair of spectacles? Because it's helping me see better, not because I like the frame that another friend of mine was wearing, or like what Sandesh is wearing. I said I must also be wearing a pair of spectacles because I like the frame that Sandesh is wearing. So I think we all get into this trap.
Very nice.
So own your mind, own your space, and make your own decisions.
Right, sir. And regarding how the craft has changed or improved over the years,
Sorry.
since the last, how the art of writing has evolved over the last, say, 20, 30 years.
Okay.
I'll just add a little bit to what Satish is saying there. So we have this discussion these days about copy versus content, for example, content writing, right?
See,
So where do
I'll tell
you
you
see
this.
it?
I worry about these kind of distinctions. Is content, I think, is inanimate in my view. Right? Copywriting has some life in it. Copywriting is written by somebody, which is a human being with a purpose to do something for another person. I'll give you a headline. Do you close the bathroom door even if you're the only one at home? When you read this headline, what happens? Do you think AI can produce this line?
No way.
This line
No.
was written by a person called Bill Jamie for a travel service publication. Oh, sorry, Psychology Today magazine. For travel service publication, he wrote another line saying, how much should you tip the waiter when you're planning to pocket the ashtray? Do you think AI can write this line?
Oh.
Because this comes from the superior understanding of human beings, logic, and what will make them tick. See, do you think AI can nod its head the way Sandesh is nodding his head when I'm talking to you?
Correct.
So there is something called Meridian Circle. How do people understand things? When we say things, only 67% is based on body language. 7% is tone and style. 38% is words. Or 38% is tone and style, 7% is words. We put so much on words. So if I'm able to look at this screen now, right? Now, for each of us, the name is appearing. If this Sandesh Rao is written in a different font, how will it look? For instance, if each of us got a different font, how might it look? Or for instance, if each of us could have a choice of a font in which our name can appear, would you choose the same font? Here's what's happening now, Satish.
Fantastic.
Yeah, individuality is coming into play.
Yeah. So I think it's a question of how you apply all the instruments in our hand. Experiment with it. I would always want to experiment. I will experiment and decide whether it makes sense for me or not. For instance, I'm writing a fiction now. Okay. I'll give the storyline of the fiction. The story is that there is a guy who has gone to Varanasi. Right? He's on a holiday. He's gone to a place to have bath, a river in the Ganges. Right? There is a place called Hanuman Ghat. Right? And here's his bath. He gets up and then he slips on the steps, falls, hits his head, and forgets his memory. And he's picked up by a fake sadhu. Okay? Varanasi is full of fake sadhus. He's picked up by this guy. And then these two guys, as it happens, join a bunch of guys who decided to walk from Varanasi to Ramesh as part of a pilgrimage too. That's the basic crux of the story. Now I have written something like 20,000 words. Right? They have not even left Varanasi yet.
Oh, okay.
You know why? Because I had to start fitting a whole lot of logic. Kaise jayega? What will happen? Who will pay for the trip? What happens to them in the trip? Who will take care of food? Where can they stay in between? And then there is a route which is already fixed, which I'm based on some book which I have read. Right? So they have to go from Varanasi to Kastar Mahadev, from Kastar Mahadev to Calcutta, from Calcutta to this, and so on. The entire route map is clear with me. Who is going to pay for the trip? So I found a Sethi who is willing to fund the trip. All created like that. So, long question to your short, long answer to your short question, Satish, about AI. I'm saying AI can't replace imagination because it's artificial. You have OI, which is original intelligence.
Correct.
Is that fair? Okay.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Akanksha, you have anything to ask? Would the Akanksha, Apurva, Shiva?
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to ask. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask when you said, do homework. I'm sure we'll get a lot of pointers about them. So how do you decide what to highlight? Like you gave the company example when you were surveying them. I'm sure there must be a lot of things when you said about lubricants. A lot of things that must have come up. And how you decided on oh nahi doors hai, doors nahi chalte. Like how you find the key.
See, if you're communicating to people, right? As people, all of us have our hopes, fears, and concerns. Is that right? So if I have to say something to Apurva, right, and I'm saying only about myself, will Apurva be interested?
No.
No. Right? So first thing I have to make sure it is interesting to Apurva. So starting point is if I use the word Apurva in the line, you might be interested to start with. Because the
Yes.
name is there. Right? And then after that, I have to see, I have to understand what makes Apurva tick. What is interesting to her? What is fascinating for her? What makes her feel excited? What will make her want to go out of the way to do something? What is motivating for her? If I understand that, I have to start with that. I'll tell you a story, right? This is a grandmother's story. I don't know whether I said that before, but I'll say it again. That when my daughter was a small girl, my mom was feeding her, and she would not open her mouth. So my mother showed that and said, "What is that bird there?" My daughter said, "Kaka." She opened her mouth. She put food in. So it's a question of how you understand your audience, and then use that knowledge to your advantage. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. But sir, a grandmother will know their granddaughter, grandson closely. How will we know someone we are not related to or like?
Okay, so I'm going to take some extra time with Tapura because her questions are important for everybody. You
Please, please
give
do.
me a task where you want to persuade somebody.
Huh.
Tell me.
Um, and
Give me a
someone like
situation.
a raw agent, we don't know anything about that agent. They are generally off the files. We don't know anything about them, and we want to contact them simply. We want to honey trap them. Okay, we have to trap this
So,
person.
so get specific. So I'll tell you this is the way it is done. So you think of that person.
Okay.
Right? Do some homework about the person. Today it's possible. For instance, if you go to LinkedIn and look at the person, look at the profile, you can pick up some very interesting words from them,
Okay.
right? And use that as a basis for doing that. See, I have something like 20,000 connections on LinkedIn. I don't know everybody. But if I want to persuade homework, and I see his profile, and I'll pick up words that are similar to what I'm saying. And I'll say, both of us seem to be interested in this. It would be great if we can have that.
Okay.
So see if there is commonality. That's a starting point. It's a starting point. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. Thank you,
Fantastic.
sir.
Akanksha, you had a question. You have your hand up.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good evening.
Hi, Akanksha.
Hi. So I wanted to ask that you have been in this industry for so long. You would have seen so many trends coming in, going off. So, what is your take on trend marketing from a strategy point of view? And should companies be doing trend marketing, or like even when everyone is talking about the same thing, we should be talking about something else? So, what's your take on that?
See, I'm not so worried about trends. My focus is on relevance, timeliness, fit. If whatever I say is relevant to account,
Right.
it is timely for her, and fits her correct requirement, she will listen to me, whether it is trendy or not.
Right.
Let us say you are sitting down for a meal, and at that point in time, you wish you had some thicker pickle. And at that time, I call you and say, I have this fantastic achar from Maharashtra. If you say yes, I will have it delivered to you within like 24 hours. You would say yes. It's not about trends. So trends are important, but don't give undue importance to trends. I think it's human beings which are important.
Right.
If the entire world becomes robots and robots are doing business with other robots, then that's a different business. They're still human beings, doing business with human beings. The most important differentiation that we can bring to the table is the willingness that we have in terms of putting in time to understand each other. I can promise you that makes a huge difference, because if everybody is hurried, nobody has time for anybody else. The guy or the girl who is willing to put in time to show that I'm willing to listen to what you're saying and then respond to it will make a lot of difference. For instance, when you stated the question, did I interrupt you? Right? I paid 100% attention to your question. Now, when I'm replying to you, you're listening to me because you're returning the favor. Right? And from your body language, and I can make out that what I'm saying is resonating with you because you're nodding your head, you're smiling, right? And you're happy.
Yeah.
Right? And you also keep doing this. And I'm sure you keep doing this when you're happy, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
शिवा, you have anything to ask? हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो सर, टेंशन नहीं।
नहीं अपन इंग्लिश में ही पूछते हैं.
अरे वेरी गुड.
Okay. What's the question?
So means yeah, हिंदी करते हैं, इंग्लिश नहीं.
Yes, yes.
हिंदी में बात करें, बोलिए सर.
So means क्योंकि मेरे जैसे 2-3 और यहाँ पर है जो इनका स्टार्टिंग है इस करियर में, कॉपीराइटिंग करियर या एड करियर. सो स्टार्ट में क्या ऐसी चीजें हैं जो हमें नहीं करनी चाहिए या करनी चाहिए? क्योंकि अब बहुत सारा चीज सोशल मीडिया हो गया है. सो रोज हमें 5-6 पोस्ट रेडी करने हैं, और फिर वो यूनिक भी होने चाहिए, अच्छे भी होने चाहिए, क्लाइंट को अच्छा भी लगना चाहिए, और साथ साथ हमें चाहिए कि जो सामने देख रहा है उसको भी अच्छा लगे. सो क्या ऐसी चीजें हैं कि हम करेंगे तो वो इम्प्रूव हो जाएगा?
अच्छा मैं यहाँ हिंदी में आपको उत्तर देता हूँ, ठीक है? आप समझिए कि आप नया रेस्टोरेंट खोलते हैं.
हाँ.
और आपके आसपास बहुत सारे दूसरे भी रेस्टोरेंट हैं.
ओके.
तो आपको नया कस्टमर्स चाहिए.
हाँ.
ठीक है. 1-2 कस्टमर्स फिलहाल आ जाएंगे आपके पास.
हाँ.
तो वो कस्टमर्स को आपको पकड़ के रखना है. तो आप क्या करेंगे?
मैं कुछ यूनिक करूंगा अपने रेस्टोरेंट को अलग दिखाने के लिए, या फिर
तो
शायद मैं
अलग कैसे दिखाएंगे आप?
और स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट जैसे वो जो बैनर होता है रेस्टोरेंट का, उसको मैं कुछ अलग तरीके से लिखूंगा, क्योंकि वो पहली चीज दिखती है लोगों को।
मैं आपको ये बताता हूँ, मैंने एक पुस्तक पढ़ा है, रेस्टोरेंट मैनेजर्स बाइबल करके एक पुस्तक है, बहुत पुराना पुस्तक है।
ओके।
ठीक है, तो रेस्टोरेंट मैनेजर में क्या बोलते हैं कि जो कस्टमर आते हैं, आपका पूरा मेहनत इसी में जाना है कि उसका दिल बहलाना चाहिए, उनको सर्विस, इतना सर्विस देना चाहिए कि वो बोलेंगे अगर मुझे इडली वड़ा खाना है तो मैं यहीं जाऊंगा, दूसरा कहीं नहीं जाऊंगा। एवरीबडी हैज द सेम इडली वड़ा, बट इनके जरिए ये जो सर्विस जो मिलता है, जो आदर मेरे को करते हैं, जो प्यार मेरे को देते हैं, वो तो कहीं नहीं मिलता है। तो एटीट्यूड जो आप बताएंगे ना, तो एटीट्यूड एवरीबडी कैन नॉट रेप्लिकेट। तो रेस्टोरेंट अगर जब चलाते हैं तो धंधा के लिए चलाते हैं, पैसे के लिए चलाते हैं, बट सब रेस्टोरेंट तो वही है ना, सब पैसा के लिए करते हैं। बट कस्टमर जो आते हैं आपको पैसा देने के लिए नहीं आते हैं, कस्टमर जो आते हैं तो कुछ जल्दी जल्दी खाने के आते हैं, लेकिन आपका सर्विस जो आता है तो उनको लगता है कि भाई इडली वड़ा खाए तो आप शिवा के पास जाओ, इट इज वर्थ, you know, there is a line which was there for camel, it's worth a mile for a camel or something like that, right?
I'd walk a mile for a camel.
I'll walk a mile for a camel.
Yeah.
अब कौन से गांव के हैं शिवा?
अयोध्या से, यूपी।
अयोध्या।
अयोध्या, हाँ।
उधर,
हाँ,
उसमें एकदम बेस्ट रेस्टोरेंट कौन सा?
मतलब वैसे मैं अभी करंटली अहमदाबाद में, मतलब वो मेरा नेटिव प्लेस है ऐसा।
नहीं, देयर यू टेल मी व्हाट इज योर फेवरेट रेस्टोरेंट?
यहाँ पर तो एक बहरूज बिरयानी करके है क्या,
ठीक है, इसमें व्हाट इज इट अपार्ट फ्रॉम बिरयानी, मस्ट बी कुछ और मैं उधर?
हाँ, मींस द वे दे सर्व, उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं, इलायची देते हैं और मींस बहुत सारी चीजें देते हैं एक्स्ट्रा।
सर्विस अच्छा है?
सॉरी,
सर्विस अच्छा है उनका, सर्विस अच्छा है?
हाँ हाँ, सर्विस अच्छा है।
और आपको पहचानते हैं?
मतलब मैं ज्यादा बार गया नहीं हूँ, बट 2 बार गया हूँ तो उन्होंने अच्छे सर्विस किया था।
तो आपको पहचानते हैं ना, यूर नोन पर्सन है?
हाँ, एक तरह से।
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. So if you would want to go there because they don't just treat you as this, you know, अगर हम शादी में जाते हैं, शादी में बहुत सारे गेस्ट आते हैं, right? As enter the hall, oh, the girl's father comes and, हाँ Sridhar साहब, such a nice thing to see you. How do you feel?
वेरी नाइस, हाँ, अच्छा लगेगा।
हाँ, so restaurants में भी, if the restaurant fellow recognizes you, then it makes a lot of difference. Right? I go to many restaurants. There are restaurants people know me when they recognize me. ठीक है, they know my favorite food. तो मैं जाते बोलेगा कि आज के लिए आज पोंगल बनाया है, एकदम अभी बनाया हुआ है, एंड बिफोर सेड वो आके मेरे को दे देगा। मैं सोच के गया कि आज डोसा खाऊंगा, पोंगल नहीं खाऊंगा मैं, वो आके मेरे को पोंगल दे देता है, बट गर्मा गर्म तो मैं खा लेता हूँ। मैं डोसा के लिए गया तो डोसा भी खा लेता हूँ, तो पोंगल खाया, डोसा खाया, my bill is double than what I plan to spend.
हाँ,
So what I'm saying कि relationships are important, right? Maybe that will help you. Does that answer your question? No.
somewhere.
What is
What
missing? What will make a difference?
मींस ऐसे मैं मेरा ज्यादा क्वेश्चन ये वर्क के रिलेटेड था कि क्योंकि मेरा अभी जो वर्क वाला फेज चल रहा है, और क्योंकि मुझे ये लगता है कि अब मैं अगर वर्क में इम्प्रूव करूंगा तो ही वो बेटर है, मैं रादर देन क्या बोलते हैं जनरल लाइफ सेंस में ज्यादा मेरा फोकस नहीं है अभी।
So all of us, At 74, I also had to improve. Right? So improve करना ठीक है, but improve in what direction?
I mean, ideas के डायरेक्शन में वो जो लाइंस हम
Ideas.
लिखते हैं उसको
ठीक है?
क्राफ्ट के
So, first class, first class. So you want to improve your ability to think of new ideas.
हाँ, yes.
So how to get new ideas के बारे में आप सोचो. You can learn techniques on that. There are many ways to do that. You can see YouTube videos. There are books on this subject. How to get new ideas? You can get new ideas based on music. You can get new ideas looking at pictures. You can get new ideas by talking to people. You know, if I want a new idea, I just talk to 5 friends of mine saying, if you are in my position, तू क्या करेगा? 5 Pandava हैं. All Pandavas are different, right?
Yes.
So यहाँ से only 5 people, you get 5 different answers. आपका आंसर है 6 आंसर मिल जाएंगे आपको. 10
Okay.
में तो हो जाएगा काम आपका. ठीक है?
So good.
हाँ.
So
बहुत बनी कि नहीं?
बात बनी कि
हाँ,
नहीं?
मतलब बनी मीन्स मुझे लगता है कि वो तो कर करके ही आएगा चीज. तो the more we practice, the more.
If I'm going to take a small liberty with you, आप जरा relax हो जाइए.
अच्छा.
When you smile, you're looking so nice. Right? तो आप जरा दिल खोल के आराम से, you know, be happy, smile. That big invitational for people wanting to talk.
Okay.
काम आ जाएगा आपका. You must put for your dancing picture. You must have a smiling picture. Looks really nice.
Okay.
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 Fantastic. Any more questions? Any more questions, guys, from the room? We good? So I just wanted to ask one. I know we don't take too much of your time as well, but it's been amazing to.
I have time. I have time if you guys.
Okay, great. So any more questions, guys? Satish, you want to ask something more? Akanksha's? Hussein, Asta? Yes, Akanksha. Oh, sorry, Satish. Let's take Akanksha's question.
Akanksha has, I think Akanksha has raised her hand.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, sir. I often struggle with a thing called afterthought. So whenever I work on something and I think it's my best, or that thought keeps coming to me, and I think this is it, because it is just coming to me again and again. And the moment I submit it or share it, after that is when, I really start thinking. And I always feel that, oh, I should have thought that, why didn't this come to me earlier? So I always struggle with afterthought in almost everything. So how to manage this?
First thing, it's a very natural thing to happen. For all of us, it happens.
Yes.
So my suggestion is that you please open a diary called Afterthought. So seriously, every time this afterthought occurs, you jot down all your afterthoughts. Right?
Okay.
And whenever you have to start a new project, you go through the diary called Afterthought.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think about it?
What do I think will happen?
If you have a diary called Afterthought, and then every time you start a new project, you go through the Afterthought diary and use that as triggers and stimulus, how do you think it will work for you?
So that I can try and see. I may not be able to comment now, but I can do this and see.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, first thing I am inviting you to think about is afterthought is not bad.
Yeah.
I would worry that if something happens, you have no thoughts, then I will be very concerned. Right? We must.
Yeah.
Every time we are exposed to some experience, some thoughts must occur. Because we are human beings and we are alive. Our mind is working, the brain is ticking. So thoughts आना ही चाहिए.
Yeah.
Right? So first thing is for afterthought. So it's like, if you're in a pond and there's plenty of fish, you must have a device to catch the fish, right? So you
Correct.
please have a afterthought catching mechanism for yourself. After
Yes, sir.
this meeting, what afterthoughts will come to you? You kept them.
Okay.
And then every time you have to start something, you look at afterthought, it's like raw material for cooking. You start cooking, you look at your kitchen, it's what all ingredients there, right?
Yes.
So when you start a new campaign, you look at one ingredient called afterthoughts. उसमें से कुछ ना कुछ निकलेगा.
Yes, sir. I'll try this.
What trying? I can tell you. I promise you it will work.
It is. It is. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the asking. Good one.
Yeah, it was a good question. Now it will be in my thought as an afterthought. This question. Okay, good one. Satish, yes, you were saying something about it.
Yeah. So my question is sort of vague and roundabout and going round and round. It's about how do you generate a new insight very quickly? For example, you mentioned a line about somebody writing, if you are the only person in the house, you lock the bathroom door. How do you come given a new topic? It could be a new subject as a content writer or a new client and ad as a copywriter. But how do are there any tactics that we could adopt to quickly get to the bottom or a very interesting catch points where we could pitch these lines from?
Okay, so I understood Satish is asking how do you sort of arrive at insights, right, Satish? That was basically simple insights.
Sorry?
Insights in a very fast.
He's not very audible. I'm not
Yeah, Satish, you want to quickly type that in the chat, if that
Sure,
helps?
sure, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, because I think it's getting a little couldn't hear you at times.
Yeah, the next. Get that.
Yeah, I think let Satish type that question in.
Yeah.
Anyone
If types, you tell
else?
me, I'll answer that.
Yeah. Anyone else has a question in the interim? Quickly, if you want to ask. So one question, which is always something which is a lot of people ask me, a lot of young writers ask me this. So I thought I'll throw this open to you as well. How do you stay invested as a writer? Because a lot of people are getting disillusioned very quickly. You know,
You stay invested as what?
in writing. How do you keep your motivation going for writing, or for creative, or for being a communications person?
See, the thing is that we're all human beings, right? All of us want returns for our efforts. We want recognition. We want rewards. Now, if somebody says, I want to write because I like writing, and I don't care whether it is published or not, that's a different thing. If you're in that genre, then it's not a problem. But if you're writing for commercial purposes, which means that what you write, somebody has to buy and publish. Whether it is writing a book, writing a commercial, writing a script for a movie, writing a book, writing an advertisement, whatever it is, then you must understand two audiences. The person who is willing to pay for your writing, an audience for whom he wants you to write. And third is, what is the purpose? What is the outcome he is expecting? If you're writing an ad for a brand, they're expecting walk-in traffic for a retail store, or they're actually looking at orders on their digital website. So you have to write for that purpose. So your writing must actually deliver on objectives. So anybody who is commissioning you to write something, please spend a few minutes to them to say, what is it that you want to achieve as a result of this? For instance, the question is, who should do what differently after they read this?
Very nice.
Ask that question. Then something will happen.
Nice question. Very, very interesting question to ask. Okay, Satish has just asked his question, so on the chat. If you want to see it. Yeah.
How do we think into depth of a subject quickly? Like, then that second part vanished.
Yeah. So basically, he said, how do you get into the depth of a subject quickly? Like coming up with that line which you mentioned. If you are the only person in the house, would you
Okay.
lock the bathroom? Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is that don't worry so much about quickly, right? I would rather go for quantity. On any subject, think of how many different ideas you can come out. For instance, say you're a writer, how many different headlines can you think of on a subject? If you get 20 or 30 headlines, one of that or two of that will be very good. So our worry is being right all the time. I'm saying worry about quantity and from that take the best. Think of every opportunity as a buffet. In a buffet, you don't have to eat everything. And you don't have to eat everything at the same time. You choose what you want to eat, you taste, and then finally decide, also, I don't want to eat everything. I'll only concentrate on the dessert, which is the most expensive part. There are a lot of guys who eat so much of these, what's called that, these salads and all that. By the time they come to the desserts, which are the most expensive part, there is no space in their stomach. Then wasted the buffet, right? And we pay 1,000 rupees for a buffet. What's the point? Gas khane ke liye. If you want to stay on a diet, and then stay at home and give the 1,000 rupees to the servant. Right? So it's a question of prioritization. Keep the mind open, allow the fresh air to come in. And aram se baith ke pick and choose and say which is the most potent weapon to address the task on hand. Does that answer your question, Satish?
Yeah, definitely, yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. I have one additional point to make, Satish. Okay. Okay, now I could be completely wrong, Satish. You must permit me to say this. I have a
Sure.
feeling that you're a person in a hurry.
I work for somebody, so we have tight deadlines, timelines to work with.
I
We all
understand.
do.
I understand. So that's the reason why I'm saying this. I think timelines are important, right? That should not put undue pressure because even in spite of the timelines, whosoever is your client is expecting quality, right?
Yeah.
Even those people who are buying instant foods are expecting quality. Nobody expects quality to be compromised. The flip side of the question is, if people are doing work with you, know that deliver quality, I suspect will be willing to give you time if you insist on getting some more time. Right?
Right.
That's a thought I want to leave with you. Don't be over anxious about wanting to deliver things so that they'll be happy. They will be happy with great quality and time. Sometimes if they know that you're consistently delivering high quality, they'll give you the allowance of more time.
Wow. Very nice.
Okay.
Fair enough? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Give
Sure,
it a
sure,
try.
yes, sir.
Give it a try. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All the best. Yeah. Right.
Okay. I think we'll take two more questions, Asta. You have one question to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask that, when
Sure.
it comes to strategy, it is very exhausting to think of a strategy because you really have to think in all dimensions, like the future, the present, the past, the northwest of it and the southwest of it and everything. So it becomes very exhausting sometimes, mentally. So how do we go about it? Like, you said, be relaxed at the same time, and at the same time, deliver quality when it comes to coming up with a strategy.
See, strategy is all about figuring out how to make things happen. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it depends on how much time you have at hand for doing anything.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, you asked me a question. I don't have 10 hours to answer that question, right?
Yeah.
So I have to think of a simple example to help you understand how to think of strategy to answer a
Hmm.
question.
Hmm.
So in
Hmm.
this particular particular case, I'm only looking at you and answering your question. Instead of think of everybody's question. So strategy is very simple, right? If you're just mildly hungry, don't worry about to which buffet you have to go to. Which city are you from?
Sorry, sir.
Which city are you in?
Panchkula. It's the Chandigarh Tri-City.
Okay. Which is the quickest place we can go to for a breakfast from where you are?
There is Indian coffee house over here, so we can
Okay.
go for breakfast over there.
That's the first name we thought of.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So it's like this. So the thing is, so this is the point. The whole thing is that depends everything. Strategy has to fulfill a certain purpose for a certain time, and there is a price to pay. Price to pay is time, effort, and money. You're hungry before you reach work. You want quickly grab some breakfast.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to a 5-star hotel. आधा दिन लग जाएगा breakfast मिलने में. So on the way, you can pick up something and then you can eat in the bus and go.
Yeah.
So then you use a strategy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that time, your criteria is period, the time available, money available, right? How much filling that you need in terms of depending on your hunger. If I'm so hungry and tired, I want to go to a buffet, then I'll bunk. I won't go to the office. गाली देगा but बाद में देखा जाएगा. ठीक है, at that time I'm willing to take the risk. So I want to do something where I won't get caught.
Yeah. Yeah.
वो भी strategy है. There are times where you can make the boss the partner in all this tamasha, right? So the police who catches you becomes your partner, तो कैसा होगा? वो भी strategy है. So the best thing to do is to boss, this is an amazing place for breakfast. I want to talk to you about this strategy for this particular client. Can you come here? We can discuss a strategy. खाना भी हो जाएगा हमारा. Yeah. So you introduce him to a nice place. आपका खाना मिल गया. He pays the bill. If he's a chivalrous person, he has to pay the bill, right? ठीक है?
Yeah.
काम भी हो जाएगा आपको. ये सब strategy है.
स्ट्रेटजी है सर, बड़ा स्ट्रेटजी है.
हिंदी में इसको बोलते हैं पटाना है. इसको कैसे पटाएंगे हम? वो स्ट्रेटजी है कि नहीं? अब हिंदी सिनेमा देखे बहुत सारा पटाने का आइटम मिलेगा उधर.
That was just an example.
अब आपकी अदालत देते हैं. You see आपकी अदालत.
No, sir.
See the show sometimes because he has some amazing questions to his guests.
Yeah, he's very bold. Sometimes a little
No,
too
sometimes,
much.
I'm just saying, not all the shows are interesting. Sometimes I watch it from time to time. Right?
Okay.
I watch it especially when he's interviewing interesting actors, like Sanjay Dutt. For instance.
Okay.
Sanjay. Who's the other guy?
Salman Khan.
Salman Khan. Akshay Kumar.
Got it.
Right. You watch such interviews. Recently, I watched a show where the rap singer, I forget his name, who was there that time.
Honey Singh? Badshah.
Yeah. Badshah. Yeah. So, but आपकी अदालत, this guy asked some very interesting questions. The whole show may not be interesting. 1 घंटा का पैसा उसमें होता ही नहीं. But some of the questions are so interesting. In fact, he asks questions, but the way the fellow answers.
Yeah.
तो पत्नी गली निकालते हो. Answer आ जाता है. So that is very interesting. So that's a great stimulus. So I see at least 3 shows every day, every week. आपके अदालत. Sometimes old shows. So especially with political leaders, for instance. He asks some very interesting questions. Sometimes the show is boring. So that's a matter of averages, ना? तो 10 show में 4 अच्छा निकलेगा तो मेरा पैसा वसूल हो गया.
But
And the best thing is,
sorry, it's so true.
Then I cut it off. Yeah.
It's so true. Actually, our life in advertising and creative is just to ask interesting questions. So it is
Absolutely.
all about that. Yeah.
And then you must ask interesting questions with a very innocent-looking face. Otherwise, they will think you sala shana mere ko patane ko kuch ठेका निकलता है.
Great.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll take one last question. It's come from Akanksha, and she asks, "Can you share some of your favorite work that you've done? Something
Sorry,
which you're
say that
really
again.
proud of. Some work that you're really proud of, which you've done in your life."
Oh, I don't know. See, so these are pieces which are very old. I may not even be familiar with it. Like I'll just give an example. We did some work for Computer Point for home computers. Right? It was at the time the home computer had to be connected to the television set
Right.
and used, etc. Of course, we are all used to computers. Now, they thought only the people who have a higher income group buy these computers, and that sales were not happening. So we were given this assignment. So first thing we did was to go and visit those people who had the computers, who bought the home computers, to find out what we're doing with it. We found some very interesting stuff. In those homes, which are very well-to-do homes, the home computers were kept inside the Godrej cupboard locker. And that, right? In the middle-class home, the home computer was connected to the television set. The audio player, it came audio cassettes. The audio cassette was connected to the cassette player, was connected to the television set, etc. And you click that, right? So when we spoke to the middle class homes, they said education is the only asset we can give our child. So we have invested in this. That was the insight.
Very nice. Simple. Wow.
Right? Then we said, nobody is going to buy it just like that. They are going to come for demo. So our communication was to bring people to the showroom. The purpose of communication was to bring them to the showroom. In the showroom, we said, we don't want salesmen doing the demonstration to the customers. We'll get kids from schools doing the demonstration.
Wow.
When the kids do the demo, यार kids कर सकते हैं. वो salesman किया तो रोजा करते रहता है यार, ये करेगा ये. That actually turned around the entire fortune for that brand.
Very nice.
So it depends on how you use insights.
Very lovely. Okay, fantastic. So I think we will. It's late in India. It's around 10:30 their side as well. So,
I appreciate that.
right.
Yeah.
But let me firstly say it has been an absolute pleasure, sir. Absolute pleasure. I mean, to have you address us, to have, what I realized, and I must say this, the stories you bring out without really answering the questions, put in more thoughts into us, I think the beauty of you is you don't directly answer a question. You put another question in our heads, which is the afterthought question. So I thoroughly enjoyed that part because it provokes you. It sort of it makes you think better, and more deeply into whatever it is. So I think it's been an amazing. I think almost wow. We've spent more than an hour and a half already with you. So I did expect this to be such an interesting session. I just take a quick vote of thanks from everyone. So guys, if you want to just quickly thank Mr. Sridhar for his very valuable time, and he's in the US on a very different time zone, and really
so this is fine. So for me, it is about 11 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's
yeah. Still. I mean, it's still morning for you, and it's time with your children as well. So yeah. Please,
thank you for the opportunity. All that I can say is that I have plenty of time in my hand. And if you guys are working on any particular project for your clients and you want to use me as a sounding board on your strategy, or you want to, share copy which you have done and say, what do you think, whatever it is, right? Or you want to show the creative and then say, do you think this will click? Or what is it that we can do to make it different or better or whatever it is? I'm very happy to share my perspectives.
That is
Uh,
very generous of you, sir.
yeah.
Very
So
generous.
even if I say so myself, I think that that's one thing that I'm fairly good at, to help
Wow.
you get the best out of the work that you've done. I don't attack the work. I mean, I don't attack the
Fantastic.
work. I don't attack the person who's created the work. I actually get into the depth of saying, what is this line doing? What is this visual doing? Is there a caption to the picture? Why have you chosen this font? Is this adding to the personality of the brand? Why is this element placed in this place? These kind of things, which are questions to improve the quality of the final product. So I ask questions, they are not interrogation, the questions are inquiries. So I'm very
Correct.
happy to work with you guys. If you think I can be of use to you in terms of reviewing your work, if I see strategy and then you show me the work, and then I can tell you this is where it is meeting the strategy, this is where I see a gap. One of the things that I can do very effectively is play client, because I've worked with enormous number of clients. I know the client psychology, what are their anxieties. At the end of the day, every client wants to see results. And I have delivered results for a number of clients on a number of occasions across product categories, whether FMCG or B2B or B2C, service industry, etc. So use me as your ally.
Wow. So that is, I don't even know what to say, because how many people even give their time to others, right? Forget about their opinion. It means a lot. It really means a lot. And guys, if you are not connected to Mr. Sridhar on LinkedIn, please be connected. I'll send you his this anyway. But Satish, you had something to ask. You had your hand up, so I'll go
No,
back to you quickly.
I just want to say thanks to him for taking the time to be with us here today. Shanti spoke a lot of you. Uh, he introduced you to our class earlier in our previous sessions. So I just thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, it's been amazing, sir. Thank you so much. I think I will say, I'll just take 2 minutes more to say that Mr. Sridhar is not just been very kind to do this, but just the fact that if you look at him, right, this is what a good advertising person is, right? The curiosity, the effort, the love for the profession, the love for people, right? I think eventually it boils down to that, right? And I know we all have our days up and down and we have our off days, but just generally, I think, sir, what I've got out of this session is the genuine time that you want to spend with people. That's the first takeaway and the last takeaway I've got today. You would really make an effort to, stay invested, talk, speak to people, and that's really remarkable about you. So again, on behalf of everyone in the room, I take this opportunity to thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to have you again very soon. I know getting you is very tough sometimes, but and I want you to spend your time in Nashville, enjoying your time off there as well. But let's hope and we do another session soon for everyone.
No problem. I have plenty of time, so that's not
Fantastic,
an issue at all.
fantastic, sir.
So
Thank you.
as long as it's weekdays, which is Mondays to Fridays, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Fantastic, sir.
Okay.
Fantastic. So
Right.
again,
All the
thank
best.
you from everyone, and on my behalf especially.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just spent
much.
two
Thank
more
All the
minutes
best,
with you,
guys.
sir. I just spent two
Have
more
fun.
minutes with you